After lights out, we don't answer our names. In my boarding school, there was one rule nobody joked about. Not no phones. Not no leaving the hostel at night. The real rule was this. After lights out, never answer your name. Not if a prefect calls you. Not if your best friend whispers it. Not even if the voice sounds exactly like your mother's. Especially then. I learned that rule too late. Lights out was 9 p.m. sharp at St. Dominic's College, Osale. By 8:55, the hostel always changed. Laughter dropped suddenly, like someone turned down the volume of the world. Buckets stopped splashing. Slippers that had been dragging slowly began to hurry. Even the senior boys, the ones who always felt untouchable. They moved faster. Everyone did. Because when the bell rang, you didn't want to be outside. At exactly 9 p.m., the bell screamed. Not rang, screamed. One long metallic sound that settled into your bones. When it stopped, the generator went off immediately, and darkness took over, like it had been waiting. That night, I wasn't on my bunk. I was in the bathroom. I'd been having stomach issues all day, and the matron hated excuses. So I stayed quiet inside the stall, praying it would pass before the bell. It didn't. The bell rang while I was still there, and I froze. Because everyone knew the same thing. The bathroom was the worst place to be after lights out. No windows, just long rows of stalls, and the sound of dripping water that never stopped. That's when I heard footsteps, slow, bare, slapping softly against the wet tiles. I held my breath. They stopped outside my stall, and a voice whispered, "Tunde," my name. Not shouted, not angry, soft, familiar. I almost answered. Almost. Then I remembered Jide. Jide slept on the bunk beside mine. One night during prep week, someone called his name after lights out. He answered without thinking. The next morning, his bed was neatly made. No mattress depression, no locker, no name on the register. The teachers said he was transferred, but his shoes were still under the bed, still dusty, still waiting. The voice came again. "Tunde, come out." I pressed my hand over my mouth. The footsteps moved closer, stopped right in front of my stall. I could see feet under the door, too thin. The toes were too long, and they weren't touching the floor properly. Something leaned closer to the door and whispered, "If you don't answer, I will take your place anyway." The bathroom light flickered on suddenly. I screamed. I ran. I didn't look back. I burst into the dormitory just as the night prefect began counting. 1, 2, 3. I jumped onto my bunk, heart hammering, pulling the blanket over myself like I'd always been there. 27, 28. He paused. 29. SS2 Yellow Hostel had 28 students. The room went cold. Nobody moved. The prefect frowned and counted again, slowly. 28. He shook his head, confused. "All present," he muttered, and left. Nobody spoke. Nobody slept, because we all heard the breathing from the empty bunk at the far corner of the dormitory. The next day, my name was wrong. Not missing, just wrong. On the attendance sheet, it read, Tunde. The accent marks were reversed. My handwriting was neat, but that wasn't how I wrote my name. During classes, teachers paused when they looked at me, like they were remembering something incorrectly. My friends still talked to me, but less, like they were afraid of getting too close. That night, after lights out, someone whispered my name again, from my own bunk, right beside my ear. Tunde. I didn't answer. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. The whisper sighed, disappointed. By the third night, I noticed something worse. My reflection lagged. When I brushed my teeth, the mirror smiled half a second after I did. When I blinked, it blinked slower. At night, I felt someone lying beside me, not touching, just close enough to feel cold. On the fourth night, the matron came for inspection. She stopped at my bed, stared at me for a long time, then said, "You're not the one." My throat dried up. "Ma?" She frowned, like she'd made a mistake, and walked away. But under her breath, I heard her say, "It hasn't fully changed yet." On the fifth night, I gave in. When the voice called my name again, I answered. "Yes?" The hostel lights exploded. Every bulb burst at once. Darkness screamed. Something climbed out of me, not physically, like a shadow peeling itself free. I watched, from my own body, as it sat up in my bed, wearing my face, smiling my smile. It leaned close and whispered, "Thank you for staying late." I tried to scream. No sound came out. The next morning, the school bell rang. Students woke up. Life continued. My bed was occupied. Not by me. Laughing, talking, breathing, and I was standing under the mango tree near the assembly hall. Thinner, lighter, waiting. Because after lights out, we don't answer our names, but someone always does. If you think this story is scary, wait till you see what happens next. Part 2 is coming, and it's even darker, even more shocking. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like this video, and share it with someone who loves horror stories. See you in Part 2, if you're brave enough.